Shalom, shalom. Um, Brother Dan back here again, man. First and foremost, man, Shabbat Shalom. Hope you guys had a wonderful Sabbath, man. Like we say all the time, man, if you had a rough week, excuse me, if you had a rough week, hopefully this was the reset button that you needed. And if you had a good week, hopefully it was, that cherry on top, right, to just top off your good week and give you enough energy to muster up even a even better week um up to come, or maybe just to save you some energy, put in your back pocket just in case you have a rough upcoming week, right? Shalom to the brother Azrael. Um, and so I hope you had a good Sabbath, man. Without further ado, man, we give all honor and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. When we do so by way of His only begotten Son, who He sent as an instrument of salvation for the nation of Israel, right? His only begotten Son, not Himself, but the only begotten Son, man. Um, that He sent down here for a mission to be crucified, to give His life, right? And we strive every single day, right, to make that sacrifice not go in vain. And how do we do that? Proceeding to the New Testament, Hebrews 10 and 26, man, we don't sin willfully. And that's one thing that we get on here. We live our lives according to it, and we tell others to do the same thing, to not sin willfully. It's all about doing your best, right? Doing your best, knowing that we came from messed up backgrounds and stuff like that before we came into the knowledge of the truth. But now that we know, it's our job to do our best to not sin willfully, right? Um, and the Most High will honor that. Today's lesson is going to be not a short. It's not going to be a long one at all, right? It's going to be a short lesson. The lesson today is going to be called "Legends Don't Need Trophies," right? And it's kind of going to be kind of geared towards the Hebrew Israelite community. Um, and I hope I'm not beating a dead horse with this video or this lesson, man. Because I do see that we are getting better, as far as our presence out in public. But it's more so geared towards, our brothers and sisters that if I were to come out and diagnose it, it would literally be, a lot of us are projecting our insecurities when we go out, right? Not just to each other, but to other nations, right? And a lot of it is not needed, right? We talked about this briefly one Sabbath. I don't know if it was last Sabbath or the Sabbath before when we was out downtown Macon, but nonetheless, we talk about how, hey, look, man, we know that we're the chosen nation, the chosen people. We know the fate of other nations. We know the place of other nations, right? And it's not for us to put them in a headlock and give them a nuggie. You know what I'm saying? We bringing back the nuggies. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's been a long time since just this is a sidebar, but it's been a long time, man, since I heard anybody use those phrases like nuggies and what's another one? The swirlies, right? You know what I'm saying? But that's what we do on the street, man. We like to rub it in, you know what I'm saying? Like
Make them say uncle.
make them say uncle, make them tap, you know what I'm saying? When it when in all actuality, man, it's really no need for it, right? One thing that we say and we live by all the time is that Esau gonna be Esau, right? We talked about this. I know we for a fact we talked about this last Sabbath on the street, where it's like, man, some characteristics are just embedded into certain cultures and certain nations, right? Nothing that you do or say is gonna change that, right? Whether you highlight it or not, it's gonna be there, right? And it's just by designs by default. You know what I'm saying? Some things get passed down by default, like they say for Negroes, we pass down trauma, from slavery and stuff like that, right? We pass that down unawarely. And some people believe that's why we have high blood pressure, because we always stress even when we don't know what we need to be stressed from, but also for other nations, like when we talk about inherent racism, some nations, man, it's just gonna be in them regardless. You know what I'm saying? That's and as much as they want to weed it out of their lot, it just is hard to do when you have people in your family that's been racist so long. Even the little things that you don't notice that they do as racist, you might be picking up on. You know what I'm saying? You might not uh, X that out, and so but that doesn't necessarily mean that we got to hone in on that. We know Esau gonna be Esau. We don't have to call every time we see Esau walk past us, right? Especially on the street, we don't have to go out, hey, you white devil, right? Plenty of times Esau walk around, walk by us, man, minding their own business with their little poodles or whatever, and we yelling and they call it shaking the hand and stuff like that, and a lot of that's not needed, man. I'm real big on humility, real big on keeping the main thing, and that is not the main thing, right? Worried about the wrong things. That's what our people are known to do. And what it does is it takes away from the missions that we are set to do, right? Like I said, though, I have been noticing the community get better at this public wise. So I hope I'm not beating a dead horse. I believe we're moving in the right direction. But I wanted to go into it briefly. Like I said, it won't be long at all. Let me share my screen and we'll get into some scriptures, man. Some scriptures that everybody probably know, but I want to, highlight a little bit of a twist on them. And so we'll go with this one first, Galatians 1:10, right? Because this is what we're really trying to strive for here, right? At the end of this verse, right? You can go ahead and read that for me.
Galatians chapter 1 and verse 10. For do I now persuade men or God?
It says, do I now persuade men or God? You got to ask yourself in every single action that you do, every decision that you make, especially when you're representing this truth, representing the Bible, representing the Most High. Are we doing this to persuade men or God, right? We're trying to persuade God with all of our actions, right? Keep reading.
Or do I now persuade men or God? Or do I seek to please men? For if I yet pleased men, I should not be the servant of Christ.
Right. And so that's the whole point. The whole point is that we're going to be the servants of Christ. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're striving to be. We're not trying to be servants of men, servants of your leader, of your little congregation or camp or whatever. We're trying to be servants of Christ. And in doing so, we have to be real Christians, right? Once upon, they changed the definition of what a Christian is almost every year. But I remember one year they had the definition of a Christian being a Christ-like minion. And that was my favorite definition, man. You want to be just like Christ, right? That's what it means to be a Christian. And that's what we're striving to be, to be a servant of Christ, not servants of ourselves, to please ourselves. Because sometimes, like I said, it goes back to projection of our insecurities, and it pleases ourselves and it pleases men to call people out and to bully people, right? But I want you to know that, very seldom do you see anybody in the scripture bullying anybody, whether it be another nation or not, right? You know what I'm saying? Just for no reason, we're not going to pull it today, but one of the scriptures that we rely on heavily is, with everything in you, be peaceful with all men. I'm paraphrasing, but you get
if at all possible.
If at all possible, right? And some of y'all, that is not possible for you to be peaceful with all men. You don't need to be teaching. You don't need to be out there in the public, right? Because what happens is we don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear it at some point in my life, but delivery does matter, right? That could be a whole lesson in itself, right? Delivery does matter. I didn't want to admit it, you know what I'm saying? But what happens is, you want to be in the limelight. You don't care if people look at you nasty and stuff like that. But what you have associated with this truth is not only just men, but women, not only just women, but children, right? And we have to live in this society, right? We have to operate in this world. I'm not saying to cower down by any means. Somebody asked me who I am. I'm going to tell them I'm a Hebrew Israelite. That's for a fact. But the prejudgment and the pre-notions before they meet me don't always have to be met with being nasty. And we'll get into that too, what the scriptures say about that too, right? But it doesn't have to be that I'm a nasty being, you know what I'm saying? And what happens is that gets put on us, it gets put on our women, and it's starting to get put on our kids, right? You know what I'm saying? And we already know how they treat our kids just being regularly black in society. How much more about being an Israelite in society, right? You know what that's gonna come with. You know what I'm saying? When your kids grow up and they go out into this world, you want to make sure that you set them up for success. You don't want to set them up for failure and be like, well, you got to deal with it, son. You got to deal with it, my daughter. You know what I'm saying? You want to send them out into a world that's gonna respect them to the most of its capability. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to send them out there and with targets on their back. That's one thing about it. You can be in this truth without having a target on your back. I think I did a lesson on this a couple months ago. You can be in this truth without having a target on your back or putting one on your kids or your wife, right? So that's Galatians 1-10. You have something to say on that one?
Nah, man, yeah, just being peaceful and being diplomatic and reasonable as a human being on the earth, you know what I'm saying? Because ultimately he says to be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. You go out, you never know where you might find yourself in the hands of, right? You could find yourselves in the hands of the enemy. Of course, we're going to stand 10 toes like the brothers in the book of Maccabees did in chapter 7, but in second Maccabees chapter 7, but you never know where you can end up, right? You could be one of them brothers or sisters that's all over social media and going hard, like as they say, shaking the hand, and now you're on most wanted pages and you're on hate lists and things of that nature, right? Now we know some of that stuff is going to come inevitably, but you can put yourself out there to be that, right? Because we know there's some of us that take pride in being on that hate list, right? And you never know where you might find you might find yourself in the hands of somebody that can make you homeless, right? It could be your landlord and they just pick a bone with you and then they do you wrong, and they the ones that ultimately have the last say. You could try to take it to court, or you could find yourself in the hands of the law, right? And they can know what you do off to the side, and they might seen a few videos you did and now they're giving you a hard time. Or you could find yourselves in the hand of a doctor, right? You never know what these doctors do when they put you under, right? That doctor done seen some videos of you, and he or she got a distaste for you. You don't know what they can do to you. They might
Right.
could kill you on purpose,
I mean, we've
right?
seen, Grey's Anatomy, all these doctor shows where, they're trying to be unbiased as possible, but the human in them still feels some type of way about that person that's on that table. You have some people that exit the room, some people that have a hard time operating, some people that don't try their hardest to save this life because of the preconceived notions that they have of this person. You see what I'm saying?
Man. And so, with that being said, you got to be wise as serpents out in this earth, man. Not that doesn't make you a raccoon. That doesn't make you an uncle, whatever. It don't make you nothing but smart and
Theo
wise.
Tomas.
Right. You know what I'm saying? It don't make you nothing but wise for you and your family, right? Because it says he that endures to the end, the same will be saved. When we read about the story of Hezekiah pleaded with the Lord on his deathbed because he did not want to die, because he wanted to keep living. And he told the Lord, hey, I can't praise you from the, or tell people about the goodness of your name from the tomb, from the grave, from the pit, right? So ultimately, this life is a gift. Sounds cliche, but we got to treasure it, right? We got to be healthy and we got to move wise as serpents. So, all that comes into play with your delivery, right?
Right, man. Like, man, he brother brought out a little analogy there. Me, man. I like, I'll be watching a lot of TV shows and movies, man. I finally watched that Straw movie. It wasn't as good it wasn't as good as y'all said it was. I'm just gonna be honest, bro. It was a solid 6 out of 10, maybe 5. In my opinion, you know what I'm saying. But in the movie, You know what I'm saying? Not to spoil anything, but in the movie, man,
Go ahead, spoil it, bro.
in the movie, she cuts off this guy, right? You know, you watching the movie, man. She trying to make it seem like the dude cut her off first. She cut off the guy first. We all seen it. You know what I'm saying? The guy gets mad. He ends up being a cop and ends up in the situ and ends up uh in the climax of the movie where she's trapped in this building, I'll just say, and he's outside. And she was afraid to come outside because she recognized the cop, and the last thing the cop said to her after the whole accident situation was, if I ever see you, I'm gonna find a legal way to kill you, right? And that's all she could think about. So it's important about your encounters, man. You know what I'm saying? It's important about your encounters because, believe it or not, man, we wanna shake the hand and bully Esau all the time, not realizing we still living in his world. You know what I'm saying? Esau is the bank teller. Esau is the cop. Esau is the judge. You know what I'm saying? You don't know who you talking to, who you bullying. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying to cower down. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is to, like the brother said, move with wisdom, harmless as a dove, right? You know what I'm saying? One thing that always stuck with me, and we bring this out all the time, but one thing, my college basketball coach, shout out to Coach Cotry, he said, sometimes guys, y'all don't have to overreact to anything. You know, somebody say something you don't like, do something you don't like, right? You put that smile on your face, you nod your head, and you cuss them out in your head, right? You cuss them out in your head. You know what I'm saying? You shake their hand, yeah. And when they leave, then you can, say everything that you got to say. But that's just how we got to operate in this world, you know. But going back to Galatians 1 and 10, the one of the main reasons for this video is because we are all striving to be servants of Christ, to be Christ-like means to be true Christians, right? So what better way to display that but then showing how Christ actually moved, right? So this is John 18, and starting at verse 33. If you could read this, my brother.
John 18 and verse 33. Then Pilate entered into the judgment hall again and called Jesus and said unto him, Art thou the king of the Jews?
And so Pilate, man, is here, man, right? Some people have mixed feelings about who they feel, what nation Pilate came from, you know what I'm saying? But, for this, he's an Edomite, right? In this example here. And so this happens many times on the street. You know what I'm saying? This happened to Christ right now, but it happens many times on the street. What do you mean by that, Brother Dan? Pilate is walking up to him. He doesn't know anything about Jewish culture or anything like that, right? And he asks him. He says and called Jesus and said, "Are unto him, art thou the king of the Jews?" Right? Many times this happens on the street where Hebrew Israelites, people come up to us and they ask us silly questions, right? Or dumb questions, right? For pertaining to what we believe. Are you guys the Hebrew Israelites? What you think, nigga? You know what I'm saying? That's what flashes through a lot of people's minds. You know what I'm saying? They ask us dumb questions like this, and sometimes brothers get irritated. Sometimes brothers, they start going off. Brother, how brothers can get, but I'm showing this because the same things was happening to Christ, and sometimes, you go out, we in this truth every day. So like when you get hit with silly questions like that, man, it does irk you, right? But verse 34, what is 34? How did the man so-called Jesus respond?
Verse 34, Jesus answered him, Sayest thou this thing of thyself, or did others tell it thee of me?
Right. And some versions, I think it says thou sayest, right, in a sarcastic way. But it says sayest thou thing. He's saying, is this what you say, or is this what others tell you of me? We go through this on the street too. People ask you questions like, so are you guys Hebrew Israelites? I heard you believe this. I think you guys are wrong when you say X, Y, and Z, right? And we say, are you saying this of your own accord, or this is what you heard of us, right? Because 9 times out of 10, if you get to talking, you understand we don't actually believe that, you know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, we don't see Jesus here bullying him, calling him, you white devil, If you don't let me go, oh, your destruction is coming to you. You're gonna be my slave in the kingdom. You don't see Christ doing that right here,
You don't
right?
know who I am. I'm Yahweh Shah.
right. Read 35 for me real quick.
Verse 35. Pilate answered, Am I a Jew? Thine own nation and the chief priests have delivered thee unto me. What hast thou done?
And that's a lot of people will come up to you, man. They ask you silly questions. You ask them silly questions back, and then they want to get an attitude. Do I look like a Jew? Now he being sarcastic with Christ. Do I look like a Jew? You know what I'm saying? Okay, then why are you asking me that question then? If you ain't a Jew, then why are we wasting time? Why are we wasting each other's time right now? He says, "Thine own nation and the chief priests have delivered thee unto me. What hast thou done?" I don't know. Maybe you should have thought about that before you took me in custody. You know what I'm saying? But how did Christ answer? Verse 36.
Christ answered, My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now is my kingdom not from hence.
Right, keep reading.
Pilate therefore said unto him, Art thou a king then? Jesus answered, Thou sayest that I am a king. To this end was I born, and for this cause came I into the world, that I should bear witness unto the truth. Everyone that is of the truth heareth my voice.
Right, man. And so we see Christ. I want to point out that we see Christ here. He answering. He's not getting worked up. He's not going off the rails to this Edomite, right? But he's not cowarding down. He's telling him who he is. He's letting him know he feels like he's a king, right, and all that stuff. But this is why I say that the title of this video is "Legends Don't Need Trophies." You can be aware of who you are, but it doesn't have to come with any accolades. It doesn't have to come with me. I don't have to be what should make me feel like a king is what I'm doing and how I carry myself. It doesn't come from me bullying somebody else. So we see Christ here. He says, "Saith thou the king, this is the end I was born. For this cause I came into the world, that I should bear witness unto the truth. Everyone that is of the truth heareth my voice." He's pretty much saying, you know what I'm saying? Of course I'm a king. You know what I'm saying? And those that believe me hear my voice. But he's not going off the rails, and he's not, offering up distractions. Because what happens is we tend to do that, and then our message and our mission, it gets lost in the sauce. Using that analogy, lost in the sauce. Have you ever ate? Sometimes, ever since I got married, my wife put me on to Indian food. And a lot of times you get that Indian food, you get that buttered chicken, you get that lamb tikka masala. And, me, man, when I eat anything, man, I'm really big on eating the meat. The rice and stuff is cool, but I'm really big on eating the meat paws. But, when the meat is gone, it can get lost in the sauce sometimes when it's getting low. And I'm kind of just scraping through the sauce trying to find, that little nugget of meat. And that's what happens with our message when we start bringing in the bullying and the name calling and getting off track because of our feelings, man. Right? We see Christ here. He leaves that at what it is. Every time he gets a question, he's answering it, man, and he's keeping the main thing, because the last thing you want people to get from you or to hear from you wants to be the message, right? You don't want them to. The only thing I can remember that brother said was that that Pilate was the devil, that the white man was the devil. He said all this stuff, but the only thing that they gonna remember, and this is how the world is, they only gonna remember the exciting thing, right? They're gonna remember the bad thing. So the way you kill that is the way you can kill what people say that you said or remember what you said is keep the main things, and keep talking about this gospel. Keep talking about what's right. Don't ever, go off the hinges, because your message will get lost in the sauce, like that tikka masala, man, like that buttered chicken, right? Let's go to Luke real quick. Luke chapter 14 in 11. Go ahead.
Luke chapter 14 and verse 11. For whosoever exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted.
Right, man. This rings true not just within our community, right? This rings true in the world. This is a principle that is an undefeated principle, man. If you exalt yourself, you're gonna be abased. It happens all the time, right? You try to pretend you somebody that you're not. People gonna call you out. People gonna clown you for it. You know what I'm saying? And it's not gonna be good. But oftentimes if you come into any situation humble, people are gonna exalt you. For instance, man, like if you're on the street, instead of beating it down somebody's head that you feel like you're a king and that they're beneath you, right? How what if you took the adverse approach and you came humbly, you know what I'm saying, and you lay out our plight as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You lay out the good attributes that we do X, Y, and Z, and then you let the people that you're talking to come back, and they are the ones that are admonishing you for the things that you guys do, how you carry yourself, and that y'all really kings. That's what happens when you start become somebody humble. Then they want to try to build you up, but y'all know y'all kings though. Da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it should be. But if you come at them kind of pompous, you kind of come at them, trying to put your foot on their neck. Of course they gonna buck back. You know what I'm saying? Of course they're not gonna give you credit. It's like, yeah, that's cool and all, but nigga, you ain't gonna talk to me like that. That's how they feel, and so you got to understand that that humbleness is gonna usher in not only them exalting you, but sincerity, and they can be honest and genuine at that point. They can be honest that they feel like you guys are royal, that we're royalty now, because they come and they see you humble, and that you're not trying to put their foot on their neck, right? But see, when you try to put their foot on their neck, then they're in survival mode. They're going to self-preservation. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I'm not gonna. You already trying to put your foot on my neck, so I ain't gonna tell you that you good, you're great. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of times you come humble, and these other nations, they'll literally be up in your face. Bro, you guys are the people, bro. They've been lying to y'all, man. Bro, y'all are the people of the book. They would, but if you come arrogant and like they gonna be your slaves, then they're gonna take a whole different approach, man. You know what I'm saying? Because color matter, color don't matter, man. And how do y'all know that y'all are? That the Bible says there's no Jew nor Greek, so they go a whole different route. So it's really, you really have the power to to form the conversation of how you want it, man. You know what I'm saying? It's all based off of how you treat the situation and how you treat the conversation, right? If you're gonna treat the conversation with respect, right, you're gonna respect whoever you're talking to, right, until they show you that you shouldn't respect them anymore.
Right, man. Right. Verse Matthew 23:5. That's a great point though, man. You know what I'm saying? That happens to us all the time, right? And we see it. We see the adverse effect, and it's just a better way to go. Bring it to meet them with humility. You know what I'm saying?
Matthew 23:5. But all their works they do for to be seen of men.
Right. And so this is funny, man, because a lot of Israelites will disagree that some of us out there, are the modern day what's the word? Pharisees. I'm tripping. Modern day Pharisees, right? But it is true, because a lot of us are going out there, right? In our works, they're done to be seen of men. We're not yelling our voices so that people can hear this truth and repent. We're yelling our voices so that little white girl across the street can look at us, right? And cling on to her mommy and daddy for dear life. Right? We're not raising our voices so our people can repent and hear our cry out to the Most High. We're going to we're going to little parks, playground parks, where a bunch of white kids are, and we're screaming screaming at them so they can be scared, right? The works that we do oftentimes, man, in our community is to be seen of men, right? And I just want to go over this, man, because a lot of people won't agree with this, but I'm a fellow Israelite, and I'm letting you know some of us do this type of stuff, man, right? Keep reading. They make broad.
They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments.
I think when you look at phylacteries, man, it's talking like they're like the head attire and the forearm stuff and stuff like that. Literally, we do that, right? And enlarge the borders of their garments, bro. Like it's one thing. Here's my thing, right? I'm a true story, right? First encounter. I mean, first uh first hand encounter, right? About a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. I don't know how long ago that was when we went to the fair, right? The brother Obadiah was with us, all that stuff, brother E-Man, right? We went to the fair, and if you know me, man, I started wearing my fringes. I'll just cut the bottom of my shirt and I'll put the little border of the ribbon of blue on there, right? But I just snip the bottom, right? I walk up to an Israelite and the dude try to fringe check me, and then he gets closer to me and he said, "Oh, okay, I see him. I see you with the baby fringes, the makeshift fringes." Bro, they not baby fringes, they not makeshift fringes, they fringes. But you know what happens is Matthew 23 and 5, we like to enlarge the borders of our garments, and now they're not considered fringes unless they're, what they consider to be the typical, you know, fringes you buy from these stores and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Now these are baby fringes, and the milk fringes. But that's
Yeah,
just
I had a
and
brother. I had a brother to tell me at the gas station, "Oh, I got on the homemade fringes."
it's like, bro, you know what I'm saying? Are they fringes or not? That's how I feel. Are they fringes or not, bro? You know what I'm saying? But they so we talk about bullying other nations, but we self kind of bully ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And because that stuff should be cut out. You should be able to see somebody, even they got their shirt cut up, not even make a statement about it. Just know that brother's in the truth. Just know that brother trying type deal. You know what I'm saying? But we even start to believe ourselves in the truth, even to the point where you're talking about making enlarge the borders of your garment. We always go here and we tell people wearing fringes itself is not enlarging the borders of your garment, right? To enlarge the fringes is what it's talking about. And that's when we go see people with these zits that's down to their ankles. Not saying nothing wrong with it. Don't get me wrong, right? Sometimes, I know brothers have meek and mild spirits, you know what I'm saying, and humble spirits, and that's just what they got, and that's what they like, type deal. But you got some brothers that the longer the fringes, the more mightier they feel. Now the fringes down to their ankles and they swaying in the wind, right? Them ZCs, right? I done seen the regular fringes, what they say, the carpet ends, right? I done seen them jokers be this big, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's really enlarging the border of your garment for real, though. You know what I'm saying? Keep reading. Verse number 6.
Uh, and love the uppermost rooms at the feasts and the chief seats in the synagogues.
Got you. And so they love the uppermost rooms at the feast, right? Another encounter, right? Another encounter. We went to celebrate a feast day with somebody, and I ain't dropping no names or anything like that, but being an Israelite is funny, man, because you walk around and you see folks and you can just tell people get certain. We pride ourselves in not being respected as a person, but it happens all the time, right? And so you can see people that are, taking on this type of Israelite stardom. We went to go eat with these folks, man, and we love them brothers too. You know what I'm saying? Love these brothers, man. Have a good time with them all the time. But some other brothers pulled up from a different congregation. We could just tell that the treatment was a little bit better. They got offered to sit, at the head table in the school or whatever. And they kind of was acting like, oh, we was going to take it regardless. We was going to sit there regardless type deal. But this stuff actually does happen. the chief seats in the synagogues and the feasts, right? Because if you read Sirach and all that stuff, doesn't it let us know that the people that's in these feasts, right, that are throwing these feasts and all that stuff, the main guys, they're supposed to be the biggest servant of them all, right? But we see that in this case, it's not the case, right? They want to be served. A little bit more, and this is the last one on this passage right here.
Verse 7. And greetings in the markets, and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi.
Right, man. A lot of us are in this truth, and we're in a rat race to be the best teacher, or to be recognized in Israel as one of the great teachers, or to be recognized as, oh, I know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? To be called a rabbi, which is just a teacher, right? And we actually have men that will go around and saying, like, who are you? Who even are you? Right? If you why don't you just let the teachers be the teachers? Everybody not a teacher. You know what I'm saying? And that's that same spirit. You know what I'm saying? That's that same spirit. And it's and some of the things that people say, and the stuff that gets recorded of people saying it, man, it's like you can't take it back. And you guys should call a spade if you are really reading your Bible. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, I digress on that point. Let's go stay in the book of Matthew. We're going to go to verse number 6, right? If you see anything in the chat, if anybody's saying anything, bro, let me know. I can't really see because my thing is in the way. My shared screen is in the way. But Matthew 6 and verse 5.
Brother Q says shalom.
Shalom to the brother Q. Shalom. We're going to go to Matthew chapter 6 and verse 5 real quick. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Matthew 6 and 5. And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward.
Right, man. And so I bring this out to say, this is in context talking about prayer, but it's the same thing. Just talking about, going out on the street corners in general, right? If you take out the word prayer and you just talk about people just going to camp in general, this is how they feel, right? They love to be out there just standing in the midst of the street, in the corners, right? To be seen of men, right? Some camps, whether you think they got the spirit on them or not, a lot of them just like going out there, in their camp attire, right? Looking cool. A lot of them, you see them with the sunshades on, right? They cool jacket on, megaphones, all of that yelling and all of that stuff. A lot of that is just to be seen of men, right? But Yahushua, Christ, he says, hey, man, they got their reward. You want to be seen of men, hey, men see you, and that's all you're going to get. A lot of y'all, man, you don't understand that that is going to be your reward, and that in the future times, yeah, you might be in the forefront of the movement right now, but when he comes back, you might find yourself in the back, right? You might find yourself in the back looking at other folks take the reins of the governing of our people in a righteous manner, and to not be seen of men, right? On the next verse. No, I ain't gonna go to 6. Let's go to yeah, we can go to Luke real quick. I got like three more verses. I know the brother just had surgery, man. Brother Azrael, man. So I don't want to be too long. I see him grimacing over there, man. Y'all pray for the brother, man. Brother had his first surgery, man. He out, all praise. The brother was a little nervous, but we here with it. Let's go to Luke chapter 16, man. Luke 16 and 15. I won't be too long, man. Get you back to your couch, man. Lift that leg up. Go ahead.
Luke 16 and 15. And he said unto them, Ye are they which justify yourselves before men, but God knoweth your hearts. For that which is highly esteemed among men is abomination in the sight of God.
Right, man. A lot of the stuff that we esteem in this community is an abomination to God, man. You know what I'm saying? We esteem status. We esteem our camps, man. We represent our camps. Of course, it's a cliche like gangs, but we represent our camps like our camps is the only ones in this truth, right? And, brothers, the post that I see, man, it's just like, man, the proudness of what they have created is crazy, and
Do we
it's
esteem
it's an
ranks?
abomination to the Most High, huh?
So we esteem ranks. Everybody wants to be a general or a
Right.
priest or a captain or a soldier. We also esteem being scholars, right?
Yeah,
It's gotten to the point now to where it's not even about being spiritual or being a genuine person. It's about who's the best scholar, and if you're the best scholar, then we should be listening and following you.
right. Brothers be changing their logo every 2 weeks, bruh. You know what I'm saying? And brothers be, ain't nothing wrong with buying merch, but like, how brothers get, brothers be wearing, you know, these chains with their camp logo on it, chains with the ephod on there, man, chains with this Hebrew writing and all that. Nothing wrong with that, unless your intentions is bad. If your intentions is to be seen of men, so brothers can come up to you, hey, that chain fire. Hey, we y'all get that incense burner. Yeah, I need that. What you need it for? So you can be seen of men, so you can walk around looking cool. That's what it is. I'm just calling a spade, But a lot of stuff that we esteem, that we think is cool, especially when we're doing this work, man, is an abomination inside of God, because all He care about is not the physical, right, but our souls. You know what I'm saying? He cares about our souls being turned and repented, not what our souls have on, right? Not what our souls can buy, not the status our souls can be. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately He gives our status. He's going to be giving our crowns, right? Ultimately, He made us all equal, right? Everybody's trying to be, somebody of importance, not knowing that, man, we're so far removed that every single one of us that's on this earth today was not There's not one of us that's been prophesied in the Bible, bro. You're not gonna find Bishop Nathaniel in the Bible. You're not gonna find, Brother Deacon or Elder Ricard in the Bible or anybody. You're not gonna find none of these jokers in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Not to say joker to be demeaning or anything like that, man, because brothers got some type of wisdom. But what I'm saying is, you're not gonna find the prophets speaking about them, being right here, right now. You know what I'm saying? Because all of us have been so far removed. All of us have been, in wickedness and madness for so long that we're all on the same level to God, in God's eyes, right? We're all brothers and sisters. We're all equal. You know what I'm saying? I believe Christ speaks on that too, about how we're all equal and how we're all brothers and sisters, right? None is better than the other right now. But when we get into those mindsets, that's what God sees as an abomination. When we get bigger than the set, so to speak, what we like to say all the time. I know Brother Yeshai likes to say that all the time, is sometimes we can get bigger than the set, Two more precepts, right? Let's go to Proverbs. Proverbs 27 and verse number 2. This is important, man. This is important, man. This is what I live by.
Proverbs 27 and verse 2. Let another man praise thee, and not thine own mouth, a stranger and not thine own lips.
Right, man. Let other men praise you, bro. Stop telling, hey, you don't got, if you feel like you a good teacher, you ain't got to tell nobody, hey, I'm a teacher, I do this. You ain't got to tell nobody that. You ain't got to tell somebody, be like, hey, I'm him. You ain't got to tell nobody. People gonna know, and they gonna say it for you, right? I think I had a conversation even with the brother on the screen. We were talking about something, it had something to do with work, but we were both saying it's pretty much the same thing, man. You ain't gotta let nobody, you ain't gotta tell nobody nothing, man. If you do the work, that work is gonna speak for you, cliche enough. And that, let a stranger, even when, so when going back to the beginning of this verse, of this lesson, man, legends don't need trophies. Going back to the beginning of this lesson, we don't have to tell strangers, who we are. They should be able to see that. They should be able to notice who we are, right? We shouldn't have to tell them who, that we're Hebrew Israelites and all that stuff. The reason why they reject it is because of the way that we be acting. You know what I'm saying? But if we were acting how we were supposed to, this would happen, right? And this is the last precept, and I'll end on this. This is a classic, right? This is a classic. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy 4:6. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
Right? He says, keep therefore and do them. That's why I said, if we were acting right, what is it talking about? Keep therefore and do what? These laws, statutes, and commandments. Nothing else, nothing more, nothing less, bro. If you just do that, there's one thing in the law, it don't tell you to bully nobody. Hey, people gonna dislike what I'm about to say, but the law doesn't tell you to hate nobody. I ain't saying that you can't hate. I'm saying that the law doesn't tell you to hate anybody. Yeah, it tells you not to hate your brother. It doesn't tell you to go out and hate other nations, though. You know what I'm saying? If you just do the law in its entirety, bro, and you act like you got some common sense, right? This will happen, right? Keep reading.
Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
Surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people, right? They will speak this of you. You don't have to beat it into them. If you beat it into them, they ain't gonna say nothing. They're gonna keep that mouth shut. Matter of fact, not only for other nations, other Israelites will see this and will say, this is a wise and understanding person. Case in point, right? Few Sabbaths ago, right? About 3 or 4 ago, Brother Yeshaya was speaking. You know how we deal with everybody in a peaceful manner, right? So we was talking to the Edomites. Edomite girl said she didn't see herself on the sign. Foster kind of broke down to her why she didn't see herself on the sign. She was like, "Oh, okay, I understand." Da, 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 da. She went on. Y'all have a nice day. We said, "You too," right? There was no contention involved. There was understanding involved, right? And we had some brothers that was there with us. Shout out to the brothers, the two brothers from True Nation. They was there. Shout out to Brother Yediah, right? And the other king that was with them. But they said, "Dang, man, y'all handled that perfectly, right? You didn't have to call her no names or anything, and she received it. You know what I'm saying?" And they were like, "Man, we should have recorded that. That's great. We need to do this more in the community." Why? Because that's the right thing to do. That's how you carry yourself. That's how you get respect. I mean, it's the oldest trick in the book. I'm talking about from elementary school, the golden rule: treat other people how you want to be treated, type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like to earn respect, you gotta what? You gotta give it. A lot of us don't want to give that respect first. But hey, look, to whom much is given, much is required. When you the standard, sometimes you got to be the catalyst. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to be the one to show that respect first. And if you show that respect, it gets met with disrespect, then you can handle what you got to handle. But from the gate, we don't need to be acting like little children and the bullies in high school. We need to carry ourselves with some dignity and show respect to everybody, because you never know, who's who. You never know, who can help you. You never know what can be done change wise. You don't know if that little white girl is gonna go and tell somebody else, in her community, right? But it starts with us. Why? Because we're the standard, and we should be the catalyst to how the world views us, right? But that's it, man. You got anything? Come on, man. Legends don't need trophies, man. I got this title from a TV show on Amazon called Motorheads, man. It's very good, and in it they do a lot of vehicle races. It's a teen drama movie, man, but it's got some like muscle cars in there that they like to race and stuff like that after high school and stuff like that. But what happened was the kid, he just got his dad's car rebuilt from the ground up. and he's trying to race this one dude who has this like, you know, brand new Porsche, and they're racing. They're trying to figure out what they're gonna race for. The other dude said he wants to race for pink slips. Like he wants to, yeah, if I win, I need your car. Give me the pink slip to your car. It's mine now. And the other dude turns to him. He said, "Well, if you win, what do you want?" He says, "I don't want nothing, man, because legends don't need trophies, right? I don't need an accolade. I don't need anything from you for me to be remembered forever." What does Ciroc say? A good name is more precious than gold. You know what I'm saying? And that's all we need. We don't need to beat this into anybody's head. We don't need to bully nobody. We don't need somebody to tell us that we're great teachers. You know what I'm saying? If we keep the main thing, you will remain a legend. You know what I'm saying? People will always remember you. People are going to remember you being, oh, you know, out of all the Israelites that, because this happens to us, out of all the Israelites we done had encounters with, you guys are the nicest. I will always remember you guys, and I'll keep y'all in mind the next time I have a question, right? Legends don't need trophies, right? Your name alone will stand in the hands of time, right? That's all I got, man. Remember, if you're not helping to gather, you're helping to scatter. Again, you hope you guys had a good Shabbat, and I hope you guys have a good upcoming week. You know, if not, man, keep holding fast to these scriptures until the next time to hit that reset button. And we'll see you guys next week. Giving all honor and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We do so by way of his only begotten Son, who's an instrument of salvation. We say shalom.